Hey guys, Bella here. This is going to be my November monthly reset video. So this is my fourth reset with you guys. I cannot believe 4 months has gone by since the first one, but I wanted to kind of touch base with you guys and let you know how the month of October went. So we're going to go over like my goals for the month, my intentions, the budget that I had for the month, and some of the things that I consider like wins or things that I got done that I felt like were, especially productive during the month that I want to give myself credit for. And I will say overall, October was a really good month. If I had to give October a theme, I would probably say that it was relationships. I had a lot of social activities that I went to this month, spent a lot of time with friends and family, and really just got to catch up with people who mean a lot to me. And so I'm very happy that this month went so well. One of my intentions for the month of October was to give myself a little bit of time off to consider some other options career-wise. I am currently a full-time reseller on Amazon and eBay, and I've been doing that for just about 10 years now, and I'm feeling major burnout from this career path. And I'm feeling like, even though I feel so lucky because I do get to work from home and I do get to make my own schedule, I've just been feeling that feeling for a while, like I'm supposed to be doing something else. So I'm going to be kind of exploring that for the rest of the year. I think, having October off to kind of pursue some other ideas really helped me. It helped me gain some creativity and gain some clarity in like kind of the reasons why I'm not enjoying what I'm doing right now. And one of the main contributors, I think, is just that it doesn't feel very meaningful. And I know that we're all sort of in that place right now where we're looking at society and capitalism and how working basically, used to mean that you could have a good life if you had a decent job and an education. And we're seeing now that even with all of those things and even with all of that effort, you still may not be able to survive in the current economic conditions that we're in. So I really want to kind of see how I can figure out a more meaningful way to make a living and kind of explore some of that going forward. So with that being said, I don't want to get too heavy in the beginning of the video. Let's go into my goals for October. So my first goal was to read 2 books. I pretty much completed that. I've read 1.5 books. I'm still kind of in the middle of this one. The first book that I finished was called 4,000 Weeks, and it is by Oliver Burkeman, and it is a time management for mortals book. So it's kind of a funny book, and it's not what you think it's going to be. It's actually very different. I actually probably need to stop ordering productivity books because how much can you read about productivity before you're, productive as you're going to be? But for this book, I really enjoyed it. He kind of talks about the concept of having a lifespan and that we only get one and that we only have so much time. And so it's kind of meaningless to try and pursue everything all the time. The other book that I read was Turn Your Rural Property into a Wedding Venue Business. And obviously that is like super specific. I don't have a rural property right now, but I am kind of looking into and exploring the venue business. And I've been looking at this business model as something that could potentially work for me in my area, especially now that I am, a little bit more financially comfortable, and hopefully the real estate market is going to make some kind of correction or recovery in the next couple of years. But, I've been kind of exploring that business idea, and I've actually done a lot of research on it in October. I went to some venues, I did some deep dives into some interviews on YouTube of other venue owners, and kind of actually had a meeting with like a small business development center in my area about the viability of this business. So that could be something that I potentially look into in 2023, but I'm not sure yet if it is exactly the thing that I want to be doing. I know it's a very time-intensive business and it requires most of your weekends to be booked, and I'm not sure if that really aligns with what I want to do right now, but that is something that I am exploring. My next goal for October was to make an appointment with an estate planner. I did not do that. As it turns out, thinking about your own death is actually not something that you look forward to, and I have put that off once again. I really need to get on that, and I hope that I'll be able to do that by the end of the year. Like I said before, I just want to kind of have my affairs in order so the money in my bank account and my house will go to the correct person, and that, nobody will be left kind of confused about what to do when or if I die. I really hope that I don't die. I know I'm going to die eventually, but you never know what can happen. So I really do want to be prepared for that. And I will try to push that goal to hopefully have that done by the end of the year. My next goal was to finish 4 YouTube videos, and I actually wound up doing 5 YouTube videos total. Some of them were weight loss related about the drug that I'm taking called Ozempic, and I do have a follow-up video about that coming out soon. But I do feel like, you know, overall, YouTube, this wasn't my most creative month. I really wasn't feeling like recording. It does take a lot to kind of sit down and talk to a camera, and, you know, it takes a lot of focus and energy to script the videos and to kind of think about what you're going to talk about and be concise. So I really just wasn't in the mood to really do it this month. And you know, I feel more creative at certain times and less creative at other times, but I am happy that I went ahead and got my once a week video done. I think I'll be more in the mood for it in November. I'm just feeling a little bit more like I'm back to myself right now. I think I'm in a better headspace this month, and I do think that one of the reasons contributing to that is that I have been going to therapy. That's another goal of mine, is to continue treatment and therapy for, you know, any of the issues I face, but basically just to focus on my mental health. And I've been going to therapy actually once a week this month. And I think that that frequency, while it may be high to, you know, keep that up forever, once a week has really benefited me right now in this season of my life, because around the holidays and especially around the time change, I get like super depressed, especially when it gets dark earlier. I start feeling really low. I feel like I want to sleep all day, and it's just not a good headspace to be in. So I think that right now I am going to continue therapy once a week, and that's going to continue, you know, being one of my goals for the rest of the year. My other goals were sort of financial related. That was to pay my property taxes and to renew my business licenses. And I did that. It was a huge hassle going down to the county building to do that. And I probably should have just mailed it, but I didn't trust that they would actually do it correctly. So I wound up sitting at the office for like an hour and a half trying to get this business license renewed. I did wind up paying my property taxes online, and my property taxes were like $615 this year. So compared to other areas, I think that's really low. But honestly, I feel like property tax is pretty much theft. Like, why are you charging me to live in the house that I already own? It's really kind of ridiculous, but I don't know. What do you guys think about property taxes? So my intentions for the month are a little bit different than goals. I feel like intentions are kind of like ideas or ways of living or philosophy or something that you want to pour focus into. So the first one was to use a habit tracker to cultivate daily habits. So I actually used my habit tracker for 31 days of the 31 days of the month of October. And I do have the results for that in my journal. And I kind of went over it today. I don't feel like anything was really significant. I noticed that I counted calories about 21 of the 31 days. I was out of town a couple of days, and then I had weekend events, so I wasn't as consistent as I could have been with that. I did do 12 workouts total, so I worked out about 30-something% of the month, and I think that that was pretty good for me. But using that habit tracker to kind of track my habits and daily tasks, while it did help me, I don't think I'm going to continue doing it in November. It's something that I wanted to do in October because I felt like I just didn't have a guide for my days, and I felt like I was sort of, I don't know, almost drifting through. But I feel like I'm back to me, and I feel like I'm doing a little bit better this month, so I'm not going to continue doing that for this month. My next intention was more focused time and less pointless screen time, and I put that I could accomplish this by setting daily app limits and to respect my own time by stop being so easily accessible. So what I mean by that, not accessible to like people, but stop being so accessible to my phone and to these apps and to these, you know, social media platforms that keep pulling us back in. For instance, just opening some of them will keep you on there. So, you know, not being accessible to me means maybe we don't open them. Maybe if we're standing in line at the grocery store, we just look at the floor or look at another person or just look around instead of opening our phones. And so, you know, that's kind of a practice thing that you kind of have to work on gradually. But I do feel like I've had a lot less time on social media this past month. I talked with my therapist about it a little bit, and we kind of said, you know, what can you actually do to cut down your consumption of social media? Well, you can, you know, do those app limits. I tried that. It got on my nerves really bad. So what I figured I would do instead of doing that was that, you know, I would have a dedicated time to do social media. That way, you know, I can say, okay, I'm going to get on TikTok for 30 minutes. So I'd set a timer for 30 minutes. And after that, I would turn it off. So, you know, 30 minutes may seem like a long time, but 30 minutes at once to me is much better than opening up your phone, you know, 8 times in one day and then doing it for 10 or 15 minutes. So I think overall, I'm just going to try to be more focused about my social media usage, because that stuff really does sort of start to infect your brain. It also causes you to compare yourself to other people's lives where, you know, you really don't have that much in common. I mean, there are some issues that I feel like I learn a lot about online, but there are other things that just like infuriate me to the point of like, I wish I didn't know about them. So, you know, for that, I feel like I'm going to continue working on that just to kind of help my own mental health. My next intention was to develop myself by reading and watching educational content and documentaries. I will say that I watched a lot of educational content on YouTube. I didn't watch any full-fledged documentaries, and that is something that I kind of wanted to do, and I just never made time to do it, so we may push that into November and December. I actually kind of was looking around on Hulu and Netflix, but I just kind of got overwhelmed at all of the different things, and there are so many of them that like you have to do a little bit of research on, because sometimes documentaries are made with like a bias or a skew, and you know, overall, there are some things that I want to learn about that I feel like, you know, maybe YouTube is a good way to do that, but maybe watching longer form content is also good as well. So didn't watch any documentaries, but I did listen to a lot of interviews specifically about the business that I'm wanting to run with the event center. So I feel like I pretty much did my job with that one. The next goal or intention was no caffeine after 3 p.m. to help with anxiety and better sleep. And I will say that I've pretty much accomplished this. I feel like I've been very mindful to have my second cup of coffee every day around 1 or 2, and I have the first cup in the morning when I first wake up, and I've gone from having anywhere between 4 to 5 cups a day to only having 2 cups of coffee per day. And to me, I feel like that's a win, because you know, I felt like I needed coffee just to function, and now I don't really feel that pull as much. I noticed that, you know, I'm enjoying it less and less, and I feel like eventually maybe I'll be able to cut out that afternoon cup of coffee as well. But right now, I'm just trying not to have any caffeine after 3 so that I don't feel like wired when it's time to go to sleep at night. All right, my next intention is a little bit more personal, and I'm going to share it with you guys because maybe I feel like some of you could benefit from this, especially if you're watching a monthly reset video. You're probably the type A person in your family or circle of friends who, you know, you like to have everything a certain way and you like to have everything planned out. And, you know, there's always, you know, pros to that, but also there's pros with going with the flow and being spontaneous and kind of letting things happen. So one of my intentions for October was to give up control. I put that I wanted to let other people make decisions, and I wanted to release the reins and free up mental space. So I am usually the one in my friend group making plans, or, you know, saying, hey, let's go do this, or deciding where we're going to go eat. So kind of letting other people make those decisions has, you know, been something that I'm trying to work on. Not that I'm a control freak, but like, you know, usually if everyone's looking at everyone else, I'm quick to take charge. And I feel like sometimes people look to me to make the decisions, and you know, you kind of pair yourself with friends who are the complement to whatever you are. So if you're a more passive person, you might pair yourself with someone who's better at making decisions quickly or something like that. So I found that a lot of my friends compliment me in that way, but also that, you know, it takes a lot of mental energy to make all of these decisions. So one thing that I kind of wanted to do this month was kind of just let some things go and just, you know, don't make a decision, let other people make a decision. And even, you know, arming people to make decisions would be like, why don't you pick, or why don't you decide between this and this? And, you know, that way you don't have the final say in everything. So my mantra for the month was, I can let go of high expectations. And I want to say high expectations for myself, but also others, because I feel like sometimes I hold people to a standard that is really high. And in my life, it's made me have a really good circle of friends, but it's probably also made me miss out on opportunities to do things with people because I felt like they didn't meet my standard or they didn't meet my way of living. And it's caused me also to be like sort of judgmental towards people, especially if I felt like they weren't living life the way that I thought they should be. And, you know, as you get older, you realize like there's so many different ways to live life, and my way is not necessarily the right way. It's just the right way for me. And so, you know, trying to let go of some of that expectation that I have for other people is something that I'm still struggling with personally, but I feel like it's going to be a worthwhile endeavor to pursue that. All right, moving on to a different section that I totally made it up. It's called wins and things that I got done this month. So basically these weren't written goals, but they were significant enough that I wrote down the fact that I did it. The first was that I met with my accountant to go over tax tips for the end of the year, and I actually found out that I paid in too much this year for taxes, so I'm probably going to get like my first ever tax refund. I usually have to wind up paying because I'm a small business owner and I pay quarterly, but apparently my estimates were a little bit too high this year and I am going to potentially get a refund. So I was happy to learn that. I also learned that I can, set up some type of retirement account that can be tax deferred or tax exempt, and that I can set up an HSA, and I'm still going to have to kind of make some decisions with that, but I did learn a lot from that session with my accountant. I would highly recommend that if you are a small business owner and you don't make that much money, but you don't really understand all of where your money goes, especially when it comes to taxes, that you meet with an accountant, because even though it might be a couple $100s, in the long run, a really good accountant is going to save you a lot of money, and they're going to arm you with information that could help you, get some tax breaks that you may not be aware of yourself. So I highly recommend that you meet with an accountant if you are, like me and you're a small business owner. The next thing that I did was I dyed my hair. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but I put blonde highlights in my hair. I'm not really big into dyeing my hair because I don't like maintaining it, because I don't want to have to be going to the hair salon all the time. But this kind of dye, it just kind of grows down and looks natural. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I was feeling like I needed to do something different for my birthday because I turned 28 in October, and I really liked the way that it turned out. The next thing was that I hung out with my little sister from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we got to do some fun stuff this month. And I highly recommend that if you are not doing any kind of volunteer work and you have free time, Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great organization. You can get matched with a little, and you can see them a couple of times a month and really make a difference in a child's life. The next thing I did was I officiated my best friend's wedding. That was a really special day, and it was really a privilege to be a part of their moment, and I feel like that's something that we can always remember, and I really enjoyed being a part of their ceremony. We also went to the Renaissance Fair this month. We finally got to go to the Ren Fair. Daniel had never been ever. I haven't been in costume in a couple of years, so we actually wore our costumes to the Ren Fair, and I felt like we looked really cute. I was like a queen and he was a knight, and we had a great time. We walked around downtown and there was a ton of people in costume, so we really enjoyed ourselves. I bought some really cute earrings from there, and we had a wonderful time. I also hosted a Halloween party for all of my friends. We did a really fun night of playing beer pong. I made a punch. We had some, Halloween themed decor and treats, and it was a really good time to get to see everybody. And, I was a little bit nervous about it. Will anybody even want to come? But we wound up having a house full of people. It turns out when you actually host an event, people will come to it. And I think that we just really enjoyed each other's company. It had been a while since I got all of my friends in the same room. As you get older and everyone has kids and starts moving on, it's harder to get everyone together. So I was really happy that we were able to do that this month. The last big goal that I completed this month actually wasn't a goal until about 2 weeks before the month was over. We started talking about when are we going to get our bed, because we've been wanting a king bed, and if we sleep next to each other in a queen bed, we usually end up elbowing each other and smacking each other and fighting over the covers and fighting over pillows, and it's very romantic the way that we the way that we sleep. But we decided to get a king bed, so we did our research, and of course I'm the one who cares about what it looks like. Daniel could care less, but he cared a little bit. I will say he went shopping with me, but I could tell that I was more particular about it than him, and that's one of those things that goes back to me having high expectations. Sometimes that it can be a little bit frustrating, but anyways, I found the bed that I absolutely loved. It's a metal frame bed. It was from Amazon, so we got that, and then we also ordered our mattress and our box spring from Amazon. So that all came in on the same day, and it came in a day before we thought it was actually going to come in, so we wound up spending 4 or 5 hours that evening putting it together. I will say I helped as much as I could, but I was mostly just taking out the trash that was coming out of all the boxes and holding things from time to time. But Daniel did a great job putting it all together. I love the way it looks. Here's the new bed. We got most of it from Amazon. We still have to get some new nightstands. They're actually on the way. Mostly entire room redo is from Amazon. Still got to get some more king pillows, but right now it's coming along. I think I'm going to change the curtains out as well. Here's like a little close-up of the bedspread. It's like a gold color, like a caramel gold kind of color. And right now I'm just improvising with my nightstand. This is usually something that's in my office, but I gotta have a nightstand for all my snacks and my candles. So, but we are hopefully gonna get this completely redone by the end of this month. That is the goal anyways. I feel like giving myself credit for things that I got done really helps me mentally see the month as a win, especially because, you know, you do a lot of things that you kind of forget about, especially those little adulting tasks that like almost seem like things you have to do. But like, I don't know, there's something about like giving yourself a pat on the back for doing it that makes you feel good about it. So I think I'm going to continue to do that this month. I believe I'm going to keep like a running tab on my notes app. One thing I did, actually today is the first day of November, but one thing I did today was I signed up for healthcare and dental care. So I got a new health insurance plan and a new dental plan for 2023 through healthcare.gov, and I was actually surprised to see that I'm going to be paying even less this year than I was last year. I suppose they've got some new tax breaks for people whose income has gone down, or people whose, I guess, income, I don't know, is relevant to inflation right now. You know, making X amount this year is different than making X amount 3 or 4 years ago because everything has gone up so much. So I was happy about that. But anyways, let's talk about budget. So let's talk about the spending this month. Overall, I tend to keep my spending pretty reasonable, but I'm not a stickler for tracking every dollar and dime. I track things that go into my bank account, and I usually categorize them because I feel like it's important to see where your money goes, because, you know, it's easy to get scammed. It's easy to, you know, be paying for subscriptions that you don't use. So I'm pretty good about tracking my monthly expenses. The first category was house expenses, and I spent $717, and the majority of that was on our bedroom redo. I spent $455 on furniture. That would be the bed and the nightstands, and me and Daniel split some of the cost for that, so it wasn't, you know, the full $1,000 that it would have been, but it was still quite a chunk of change to redo the bedroom. And then the rest of it was spent on property taxes and lawn maintenance. So we also split some of the taxes. My property taxes were reasonable this year, but they have gone up like $100 and something. I don't have a mortgage or anything like that. I've paid off my house, so I'm thankful that I don't have a mortgage. I'll be honest with you guys, if I was paying a mortgage right now, I don't know that I would be doing as well financially, because I'm just seeing how people are struggling right now, and I really feel for all of you. So if you are struggling, you know, just know that you're definitely not alone. It's a tough time right now. So for medical expenses, $564, almost like, I'm frustrated by this, but anyways, I paid about $500 in medical bills and co-pays. I had to have a procedure done on my back, a nerve ablation, basically where they burned off some nerves in my back. So I'm still paying for part of that. So I paid $500 for that. I also paid $30 to get new glasses, and the rest of the money was for prescriptions. I'm on some different prescriptions, so overall pretty high cost for medical. I did pay about $387 for medical bills just for my back procedure this month, and I still owe them around $400. So I'm just paying on that as I can. You know, they give me a relatively decent time frame to pay that off, but I'm not going to pay it all at once because I don't want to, and I don't really feel like I need to because there's no interest accruing on it. But the next category was gas and transportation, so basically just my car. That was $290. I paid a car payment, which was $237, and then the rest of that was for gas. Next was shopping. I spent $181. I bought some shoes that I didn't really need, I guess. I kind of wanted them, but now looking back on it, I don't feel like that was really a necessary purchase, and I don't feel like it really made my life any better. So maybe I need to be careful with the impulse spending for things like that. Okay, I have got to stop buying shoes, but I feel like as long as I keep this thing filled up and I don't have any more than that, it's not that bad. But I got this pair of Merrells. They were on sale actually, so I think they were around like 80 bucks. They're just like really vibrant and very, very cute. And as you can see, like I don't really have that much clothes. These are all of my clothes that fit in a pretty small closet. So overall, I feel like I need to grab a few more pieces for winter. But yeah, I got these shoes. I also spent money on printing pictures to hang up in the house. I bought some of those like photo tiles to put in the house, so I think that's going to be really cute. I spent like 50 bucks on that from Free Prints, but I do think it's going to be really nice. And just, you know, I couldn't find any frames that I really liked when I was shopping, so I thought I'll just get those photo tiles and we'll kind of make like a little collage on the wall. As far as shopping goes, I did want to tell you guys that, you know, with that bed that I bought, we actually noticed like a small scratch on it. So I called Amazon because I was like, you know, I feel like if I can get any discount on this, it'll be worth it. I really wasn't expecting very much. The bed was about actually the bed was about $500. So they told me that they could give me 30% off because it was scratched. And so they wound up giving me like $150 credit on my account. So I used that money to help purchase the nightstands and the bedspread that I bought. So I just want to give you guys that tip that you can potentially call Amazon if your things arrive damaged, and they'll also refund you if things arrive too late. It'll actually say on the app, if your package doesn't arrive by this date, please contact us for a refund. So just being aware of that could potentially save you a couple $100s a year, especially with the way that supply chains are right now. You know, any extra money that you can get back, I think is important to know about. So all of the other categories were pretty low. Groceries was $117. Daniel usually buys the groceries. And then alcohol was $109. Obviously, I spent some money drinking this month, which not the worst thing ever, but I feel like a lot of it was actually for Ubers because I usually will get a Uber or a Lyft to the bar and then Uber back. So, you know, $15 one way, $15 the other way, it's actually, you know, can add up pretty quickly if you're going out drinking, but definitely more safe to do that than to drive while drinking. So I don't mind paying for that at all. Next category was dogs. I spent $78 getting them groomed. Then phone was $70. That is just my T-Mobile bill. And then gifts, I spent $68. I had some birthday gifts to buy, and I also had some wedding gifts to buy. Entertainment, I had a Hulu subscription, a Spotify subscription, and I also grouped in my time at the gun range in under entertainment because, I mean, it is entertaining to go shoot things. So that was entertainment for the month. And then restaurant, I spent $41. Very low for me. Once again, Daniel is an angel and usually pays for food. Travel was $38. I spent $38 on toll roads. I can't say that with my southern accent, but toll roads. Those are the roads that we drove on to go to our cruise in Florida. So we were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we, being from the South, didn't realize that. I guess we kind of realized it, but we didn't realize the extent of it. So we were on this toll road for quite a while, and we got the bill for it, and it was like $38. And I was the one who told Daniel, oh, let's take the faster way. So I was like, I'll pay it, whatever. But that was $38 down the drain. Thank you, state of Florida, for those roads that we drove on. The next category was books and education. I ordered 2 books this month off of Amazon. I'm usually pretty good about getting cheap books from the thrift store, but if there's something specific that I want to read about, I don't mind paying money to order that book because knowledge is power, and any knowledge that you learn in business can ultimately help make you more money in the long run. So I really hope to, you know, maybe even spend more money on education in the future. The last category was gym, and I spent $16 on my gym membership at Crunch Fitness, and I am gonna go there tonight. I haven't been going as much as I want to go, but I did work out 12 times in the month of October, so that was pretty good. I would love it to be every other day, but right now we're kind of aiming for like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout schedule, and I feel like that's pretty reasonable as people who, you know, after you get off work, you don't really want to do anything, you just want to chill, and especially when it's cold outside, you definitely don't want to do anything. So if we can maintain 3 days a week, I think that would be awesome. So that is the end of my budgeting. My total for the month was $2,358 that I spent on existing. Could have spent less, could have spent more. I feel like happy with the amount that I spent, and I feel like overall everything that I spent money on, aside from probably those shoes and alcohol, was a good purchase. Next, I'm going to move on to my favorites for the month. These are just things that I enjoyed, and I don't have a ton of these, but my first one was my costume from the Renaissance Fair. I got the cutest freaking outfit from Goodwill for $4. It was a blue dress with like gold on it. I wore it twice. I wore it to the Ren Fair and I also wore it to our Halloween party. So that was one of my favorite things that I got this month. My next favorite is we have been watching Celebrity Jeopardy. And when I tell you that we are like getting obsessed with Jeopardy, we've been watching it like almost every night, and it's just fun because it's like an interactive type of show. You can play along and it's fast paced, and it's always, you know, kind of interesting to see how celebrities sort of answer the questions and how they kind of get along with each other. But we've enjoyed that. We've enjoyed the celebrity version, but we also went back and watched some of the regular show. I don't know, I feel like Jeopardy is one of those shows that has just like withheld the test of time, and I feel like it's just so entertaining to watch. So that's been one of my favorite things as far as entertainment goes. My next favorite are these tap lights. I got these from Walmart and they're actually like $6 or $7, and I bought them for our pumpkin because I was like, oh, we can put it in our pumpkin and it'll look really cute. But actually I feel like we're gonna use it on something else because it is magnetic, so we can put it in any area of the house that we need a little bit of extra light. And it also comes with a remote control, so you have a little timer. You can do 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 120 minutes. So that was pretty cool. We kind of discovered these by accident. Obviously tap lights probably aren't anything new, but we don't have any, so I feel like it was kind of a cool find. I also feel like from a, you know, prepping standpoint, it's good to have things like this around during a storm because you can easily turn that on and you don't have to have any kind of external power for that. And I feel like, you know, it's just kind of good to have some extra light around the house. So that is one of my accidental discoveries for the month. I will say that I haven't bought a lot of things this month, so I don't have a lot of new favorites to show you guys, but overall I'm feeling like this month was a very positive month in terms of personal growth and in terms of just overall happiness and quality of life. I feel like, you know, I feel good. I feel positive. I hope that that shows on camera. I know, you know, when you're in a good mood and your energy is high, it can definitely convey across the screen. So hopefully you guys have seen some of that coming through. I do want to say that in November, I am not going to push myself. I think for the rest of the year, I'm straight chilling. I've done all the work that I need to do this year. Personally, I feel like it would be a good time to kind of sit back and relax and maybe volunteer. I have some organizations that I'm kind of wanting to help out this year that provide food for the community. And I feel like, you know, just kind of giving a little bit back and giving some time to kind of get my mind off myself and maybe get my mind on some other things and kind of, I don't know, almost realize that, like, you know, I don't have a bad life. I have a very good life. And sometimes I forget that because all the stress and all of the anxiety that we have in our daily lives kind of compounds to make us feel like, why am I not enough, or why don't I have this, or why can't I be this? So, you know, I think that some time off and some volunteer time would be really good for my mental health. So in November, I'm also going to continue exploring career options. Like I told you in the beginning of the video, I'm just not feeling pulled to keep doing what I am doing with reselling, and I'm feeling like there's something else out there for me. I just have to figure out what it is. And it's exciting, but it's also very scary, and I'm nervous, I'm worried, I'm fearful that, you know, what if I don't find what I'm supposed to do? But I feel like everyone feels that way. So I guess I'm just kind of putting this out there that yes, I am looking for something that is a better fit for me. I even considered, you know, maybe working for a nonprofit or something like that. Something where I feel like at the end of the day, I don't take home too much stress for my work, but I also feel like my work was meaningful and that it made a difference in someone's life. I feel like what is meant for me will eventually come to me as long as I'm receptive to it. And I feel like as long as I continue keeping a positive attitude, hopefully I can avoid the seasonal depression for the rest of the year and have a good November and December. The holidays are a stressful time for people, and it can be difficult, especially if you're dealing with depression or loneliness or any of those feelings. So just want to say that, you know, if you are feeling bad, it's definitely okay to reach out for help, and it's definitely okay to give yourself a break, especially during this time of the year where a lot of us have had our foot on the gas all year long, especially if you're working towards goals. So it's okay to kind of take a rest and take a break, especially, you know, things are seasonal and sometimes there's a season of rest. So what I want to say is that I think November and December is going to be my season of rest. And usually I find that when I rest, I am more productive later on, and I have more creativity and more mental energy to do the things that I care about. So thank you so much for watching the November monthly update video. I really enjoyed sharing this with you guys. I feel like it keeps me accountable, and it definitely keeps me, you know, kind of focused on what matters to me. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. I will catch you guys in the next video, but take care until then.